all the things we'd been learning all these years, everything was validated when we were at this clinic. They were all about the diet. They were all about mouth health. Like if you have fillings that are mercury, if you have, root canals or unhealthy things going on in your mouth, and, you're going to push all that bacteria back down into your bloodstream. And then, of course, stress, which no one in America is stressed out.
Yeah, right.
So just all the things that we learned over the years, it's like we circled all the way back around. And, even back when Lenny had Dr. Speckhart back in the very beginning, he told us to get a far infrared sauna and have Lenny sit in it 4 to 5 days a week because it detoxes every cell in your body. You get up to like 139 degrees and you're detoxing. And we got that sauna and we had Lenny use it pretty regularly. And then we got lackadaisical when we lost our dream home out in Pungo, and we put it in storage for 5 years, and he didn't do the sauna. Well, don't you know, when we came back from Mexico, the first thing he wanted to do was pull the sauna out.
Yeah, right.
And we had a small little 1,300 square foot house at the time, but we went and got that sauna and put it right in the living room because half of the treatments in Mexico were heat related, and they also had a sauna. So their whole theory was, you kind of hit it from all angles. So they did a lot of heat therapies. They did the vitamin C in an IV. So here we are all these years later learning that is a good thing. And then the B17, which Lenny was taking orally and he still does, they do there in an IV. But don't you know it's illegal in America to do it? Yeah. A lot of these things are illegal. And that's what made me so mad, because it's like a lot of these things were invented by our people in our country. But because the FDA keeps shutting it down, these people have to run off to Tijuana.
Yeah.
Did you know there's 67 clinics in Tijuana alone that treat for alternative cancer?
No, that's incredible. And they all stay pretty busy, I take it.
Yeah, because when people figure it out, they're like, wait a minute.
And when it's illegal to get better in your home country, then you have to go somewhere, right?
Right.
Wow, that's incredible. I want to back up to something you shared a minute ago, because when I was reading through the book, one of the things that struck me was you're just pretty wide open on the vulnerability and the feelings of it. So this is back to what you were sharing about when he was in the hospital for that prolonged time and the heavy chemo and just your feelings there. And you share a number of feelings like that in the book. I think sometimes, and especially for people who have a faith background and maybe come from kind of conservative lines there, that we don't feel really comfortable just opening up and being who we are and really where we are with God, even if that means fury or anger or things like that. But just not just with God, but just with yourself and with other people. How important would you say that is? And what would you say to someone else who's in a situation, either as a patient or a caregiver or just someone who cares, to be open and honest about those feelings like that?
Well, I believe that the Lord sees your heart, and He knows everything. He knows what you're going through. He knows what you're feeling. He knows what you're thinking before you're going to say it. So I really believe that a lot of times you have to hash it out, so to speak. I don't believe that He expects us to pray perfectly. Jesus said, pray like, the Lord's Prayer, pray this way, our Father who art in heaven, right. You're in reverence, you're worshiping Him and His name, and, all these different things. That's the way our heart should be. But sometimes, you're just going to hash it out, and you're either going to talk to Him in a heated way, or you're going to cry on your knees and say, where are you? And I feel like a lot of times for me, that's where I was. I'm like, where are you, God?
Yeah. And even in the anger side too. I can remember one of my most memorable prayers ever was, I am furious and it's your fault. You could have stopped this if you wanted to. And I just expected, I didn't have any other choice. And it's not like you were in a similar situation.
Yeah.
So this is just the way it is. This is exactly how I feel about it. I know it's not right, but it's the way it is. And the embrace, there was no rejection and no condemnation. It was I just felt like this embrace after having, it was like, wow, I've known that all along. I was just waiting for you to get there, so we could be on common ground, and so I could really, really come to you and minister my heart to you. But it took that open to get there.
This is Chuck Christie, owner of Talk Network Radio and producer of Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd. We've come to the end of the first part of Love Conquers Cancer, a new book by Andrea London. Join us next week on Wednesday at 1 p.m. to listen to part 2, and thank you for listening to Talk Network Radio and to Empowered Living with Jeff Byrd.